This is Jackie with In the Key of Change, and I'm here with the architects here at Austin South by Southwest Festival. And have you played South by Southwest before? I thought so.
A bunch of times.
A bunch of times. So how do you make a lasting impression on a very saturated scene like this?
Well, you got to give it 110%. You got to try to chop heads off with your music. And that's pretty much it. You got to just bring your A game. It's really hard to impress people when you're sweating out drugs and alcohol and can hardly move on stage. So you got to try to keep it together a little bit. Make sure you're got your moves, all your stuff down, the music's practiced, and you just can't get up there and half-ass.
That's a pretty good tip. Now, you guys have decided to put out your music in a really unique way this time around with a 5 comic book series for Border Wars. And I heard the second comic is sort of in the works right now. Is that correct?
It's pretty much finished and just waiting for a street date.
So why did you decide to put out your album this way?
We wanted to give our fans something different, something cooler than just a CD. We've put out many CDs.
Especially, I think it sort of gets
And that's kind of
repetitive.
yeah. The put out 12 songs on a CD here. It's kind of going by the wayside. It's not interesting, and people, you got to engage your fans, and you got to make it interesting for yourself. No, I don't think any of us were really interested or excited about the idea of just putting out another 12 songs and hoping for the best. So we decided that it's time to take it into our own hands. So.
Very cool. So who came up with the idea? Who's going to take the credit?
Brandon. Hi.
Hi.
I'll take
So,
the credit.
When did you come up with the idea? Like, how did it strike you? Tell us about that.
We had a very distinct conversation in the van on tour about being bored with the idea of making another album, like another regular album. And so I said, oh, well, we should make something better than an album. And then it was like, okay, well, what's better than an album? And so there was a lot of like hemming and hawing, and it wasn't like I sat up in bed one night and was like, Eureka! Comic book! It was like, no, we have to have like it should be episodic, and it should, and at first I was thinking about making, we should do this and it should be a movie. And then it was like, oh, wait, no, movies cost like $30 million, like for a shitty movie. Oh, can I do that? Oh, okay, good. So like a shitty movie costs more money than, than a brand new bridge in Kansas City. So we can't have a movie, but we can have we could try to have a comic book, maybe. And that it turned out that we could sort of have a comic book, and it was like, well, yeah, that's awesome. That's better than a movie. I like comic books. Is the movie? What movie is better than the comic book it was based on? None.
Very good point. Very good point. So, what are you hoping fans take away from Border Wars?
I hope that they can't possibly look at some weak-ass garage band album ever again like it was worth their dollar. Like, I hope that people are like, oh, that was totally sweet. That was well worth my luxury entertainment dollar or whatever. And I hope the chump-ass bands that flood the highways with their record label paid for van and trailer, I hope that they're all like biting their fingernails like, we can't make a movie, we can't make a comic book. And I'm like, yeah, you can't.
That's right.
Sucker.
Suck on that, garage band. Suck on that.
We did it.
So suck it.
Yeah.
So tell me more about your comic book artist, Mallory Dorn.
She's about this tall.
And she's amazing.
And she's incredible.
She's
yeah.
great.
She's about this tall.
Really
You guys have
Spunky.
almost the same haircut.
True, I saw her on Facebook.
Yeah, similar.
She owns snakes.
Yeah, she owns snakes and a little dog. Like, she has the fluffiest Pomeranian.
She's a spunky little thing. Very talented.
But snakes and a Pomeranian don't sound like a good idea.
She's not.
They're
your-
not like, they're not competitively sized.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that they wouldn't. I don't think they try to
The
prey on one another.
Pomeranian's quite a bit larger than
Art
the
school
snake.
kid.
Yeah, I saw some of her work online. I mean, she is very talented. How did you connect with her?
We had a friend that we had, a friend of a friend who was taught at the Art Institute in Kansas City. And when the idea started coming up, Brandon reached out to her and asked if she knew any illustrators that thought might be a good match. And Mallory was the first one that came up. It's like, you need to talk to her. And then so Brandon and Mallory met, discussed it, and then Mallory shot us back these character sketches that were perfect. Brandon says that, he knew right then and there that was when it was happening. When I got the email with it, and I was taken back. I was like, whoa, this is happening. This is what we're doing.
Shit, you had a really good idea.
Yeah, I thought my character, like, she was like, well, tell me about the characters or whatever, because I sent her the script, and then she was like, well, tell me some more about the characters, and I thought my characters were all like, it was like, oh yeah, I wrote some pretty, I'm kind of a big deal around here. Not a lot of people know me in Austin, but around here, I wrote some pretty heavy characters, but then. It felt like about 20 minutes between sending her the character descriptions and getting the character sketch back that was like exactly right for this one character, and I was like, okay, yeah, she's good.
That'll do. Yeah, definitely check out those comics. They are amazing. They're very well drawn. How is Border Wars a commentary on the music industry? You don't have to filter yourself at all.
The idea, I don't know if it's so much a commentary on the music industry, but it seems to be a reaction to the failed, boring, shitty side of the music industry.
Yeah.
We're trying to do something fun and exciting that a lot of people in the music industry just have never had the balls to do.
They don't do fun and they don't do exciting.
Yeah.
We reached out to give some people some. It's like, hey, can you help us? You want to be a part of this? And so
this is
you
nuts.
can't do that. That's not how it's done. Blah blah blah. So, fuck you. We'll do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Speaking of how it's usually done, what are your opinions on sort of reality-based music TV like The Voice or American Idol?
TV show.
I feel bad for the contestants who are really green and they don't realize how ridiculous the whole thing is. It's just this awful sham, and unfortunately, the way it looks to me is that unfortunately a lot of talented, well-meaning singers who don't know anything about the business just
It's
get
fucking Family
pissed all
Feud.
over, Yeah.
It's fucking Family Feud. You know who sold the most records on The Voice? Blake Shelton.
Who's that?
The Judge.
Judge.
That's great.
He's the one like selling all the records, getting all the FaceTime.
It's
Like
a
good for
sham.
good job. Winning Plinko or whatever game you happen to come up on. When you were on The Voice or whatever. Like, hey, good for you.
It's depressing the same way that professional sports are depressing. Sort of like destroying the fabric of what little American culture is left. Let's eat some nachos and get drunk.
Yeah.
And not learn anything.
I listen to Blake Shelton.
And listen to Blake Shelton.
No, there's nothing wrong with. I'm not saying Blake Shelton.
Sorry, country music makes me
Chiefs.
twitch a little.
I'm not saying I'm not saying
come
Blake
on
Shelton's
now.
I'm not saying he's an arch villain of history or that he should be like reviled or that we should all light torches and gather around his mansion, and demand his head. But I think that let's not kid ourselves that it's him and Adam Levine and Shakira that
They're
reap the
making the money.
benefit. It's not. Who won The Voice last season?
Who gives a shit?
Who fucking
There's no
cares?
substance to the show. It's just a bullshit television show that has writers just like every other reality TV show does.
You want to be a rock star in 12 weeks after 12 episodes of a TV show? That's cute because I've been doing this since I was a little kid. I've got a lot of miles on you. And what you do is cute. I mean, my hat is off. It's like watching a pageant or something, Like, hey,
Can you imagine what the writing room must look like for that show? because it's like written and scripted and predetermined. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, I got it. I got a great idea. In this week's episode, Shakira's buzzer isn't going to work right, and that's how she.
Personally, I'd rather put a cigarette out on my asshole than watch that show, but that's me.
It's just me.
Tell me how you really feel.
I think I just did.
I think so. Speaking of how you really feel, what are your opinions on the rebirth of Gulp, the cassette tape?
Let it go. It was.
It's kind of a bunk format.
There's
I like
a reason
cassette.
why
I like
it died. There's a good reason why it died.
mixtapes are they're okay for making for your own personal. You know, you make a cassette tape and it over time it just kind of disappears off the tape. So I don't like that.
You make it.
It's a bad format.
I feel it's like nostalgia for people that weren't around during cassette tapes.
Yeah, during the
'Cause
80s and
cassette tapes were, from what I remember,
They sucked.
fucking sucked.
Yeah.
They were terrible. They were junk.
Your
Yeah.
tape deck in your car would eat it.
The filter
you
falls
rewind too
off.
far. Oh, I fast forward too far.
Yeah, I've got records that are 75 years old. I've got
They
no
sound way better.
cassettes. I have
Yeah.
no cassette. They all, like, somebody sat on it in my car, and that's it. That was the end of the cassette. It's like, you know what else people used to do? Women used to wear petticoats.
Yeah.
Why don't you
Please
wear
don't bring that back.
petticoats instead of bringing the cassette back?
It's like wearing
might-
sunglasses that have a mustache hanging down from them. You know?
Yeah, vinyl. I think vinyl's better. They got it right before, and CDs kind of
Whatever,
make
it's fine.
cassettes.
Yeah,
Cassettes.
somebody's still making
Garbage.
Walkman players. Somebody's still making monocles, and if people want to buy them,
It's the same person somewhere in some basement in Kansas City. They're making both.
Yeah, they're making monocles and Walkmans and like
And petticoats.
old time Walkmans and petticoats and bicycles with giant front wheels. You know, like High Rider, Bone Crusher,
arm
bicycles.
garters, and
and
the
craft
whole
brew.
nine.
For
Yeah.
the record, that is not what it's like in Kansas City. So you know.
Exactly what it's like in Kansas City. Everybody's like,
That painted a very sort of sepia-toned version of Kansas City.
and that's pretty much how it is. That's exactly how it is. And everyone talks like, you know, hey, Keenan, it's nice to see you again. See, it's good to, you know, it's good to be around. What do you say we take your jalopy down and get some bootleg gin, huh? A little bathtub hooch, huh?
Sounds just capital. I'll grab my disguise out of the glove box. No one will recognize me, see?
With the mustache.
You're issued a bowler hat with your voter ID card,
dickie.
and like
Yeah.
Oh, a dickie to wear under your to wear under your
Ascot,
coat,
Dickie,
sweater,
whatever
and-
it takes.
We're giving somebody free ideas. This is not cool. This is not cool.
And you know what? Make money off
Story of our lives.
shit that I think is ridiculous. Go ahead. Pajama jeans. Go ahead. Make money off things I think are ridiculous.
They sell
Good for
those.
you. That's capitalism. Do that.
And we were joking a little bit about Kansas City, just a little bit. But you guys all have some of you at least, some significant ink. Are there any Kansas City artists that you would recommend?
Tattoo artists? There's actually a awesome new rebirth of the new style tattoo scene there. There's a lot of people, a lot of shops doing great work. Everyone at the Mercy Seat, 16th and Grand, are all fabulous artists.
that one guy.
Except that one guy. Just joking. They're all great. And then Noah Moore and his shop, Old Souls, really groundbreaking stuff in the tattoo world.
You'd have a hard time getting a bad tattoo in Kansas City. It's been a huge tattoo city for 30 years probably.
Yeah.
And there's lots of
Whispering Danny at Exile,
Spring Danny.
top notch, world class.
See, that's putting a good little rainbow on the end. I like that. Well, our website merges entertainment with the social causes and charities that bands support. Are there any causes or anything out there that is important to you?
Yeah, we're mainly down here playing the showcase for the Midwestern Music Foundation, and every year they have a showcase at the Shangri-La where it's called Midcoast Takeover, where it's all Kansas City bands or Midwestern bands that come down, and it's a place where we can really showcase what's going on up there, because it's not just a cow pasture and it's not just tornadoes. It's a real town. There's a scene just like anywhere else, and that's why we're down here to showcase that. But their charity, they work and help musicians find health care, dental, emergency medical, substance abuse relief, and Yeah,
it's
I'm
important.
sorry, I just blanked out.
Yeah.
Definitely. That sounds like a really great cause. Not only does it bring awareness of just the music scene, but it helps musicians there.
Yeah, they're really active in Kansas City and a big driving force in the scene there.
So after South by, what's up next for you guys?
We go back home for a few days, and then we get back in the van and we head west to meet up with Blue October, and we're going to do like 4 weeks worth of dates with them, three and a half, through the West Coast and back around through the Midwest to Kansas City, and then home for a couple days, and then back out on the road with Guttermouth for a few shows through the Midwest.
So pretty busy. Just a little. So stay tuned for episode 2 of Border Wars. Check out more from the architects. This is Jackie. Thanks to Heart and One Industries and Tattoo Ink TV and In the Key of Change.